Hey, welcome back to Star Technology, where in the last video, we finally managed to get the ZPM energy hatch. And on my own, I've been going through and upgrading most of the useful things to ZPM. So basically just every multi-block. And I got the 4A hatches as well, because they are basically nothing. So that's everything upgraded to ZPM, and as expected, that was a pretty significant hit to my power. Although, the thing that I didn't expect is a lot of my flux points didn't have bypass limit checked, so a lot of things were running out of power just because it wasn't putting enough in. So I've gone through and fixed all of that, and yeah, I'm consuming a lot of power now. So I've fully upgraded all of the solar panels to the highest tier, and also over here I've maxed out all of these redstone flux cells. There is almost certainly a better method than this by now to store intermediary power, and by all means I don't need this, but I like to just have a readout of how much power I'm generating, which is currently broken because I'm full. Anyway, a few small things. I did upgrade the fusion reactor to ZPM, but to my knowledge it's not any quicker. The max recipe tier is still LUV, it is consuming a lot more power now, but I think that would only change how quickly it heats itself up once it stops running, which I don't really need to worry about because this is never gonna stop running. Although actually, saying that, it's starting to get close to finishing. Yeah, I have almost 1,000 liquid europium, okay. But I bet that number's gonna come down pretty soon. Some other small things I've done is, in the last episode, I was complaining about how long everything was taking to craft, and the main two things blocking up the system every time was sulfuric acid and platinum. Like, just the entire flatline stuff. So I've made another separate chemical reactor entirely dedicated to running all of the platinum processing, and another centrifuge to do centrifuge parts of the platinum processing. I didn't really touch the sulfuric acid because by the time I already did this, I started looking for quicker ways to run things, and I found the chemical plant, which has bulk crafting for sulfuric acid, which it can make in half a second, and perfect processing for platinum. So both of my big problems solved by the one machine. And I've learnt my lesson from this. I'm going to have multiple chemical plants so I can run multiple recipes in parallel. But still, this small additional infrastructure I've done is kind of obsoleted by the chemical plant. And given that that's the only significant thing left in ZPM, I think that's the plan for this video. And depending on how hard it is to get this peak stuff, this might not be that hard. I'll see. So first things first, I want to see how many of these I want to make, and even what recipes I want to run in them. Because there's polybenzimidazole, that's a really good one. And I seem to remember, yeah, there's two different recipes, but they're both about the same. It's just whether I've got phenol. And I'm tempted to bypass that, because carbon dioxide and ammonia are a lot easier to get. But it is a different circuit. That's something to figure out later. But I'm going to need the circuit 24 for the sulfuric acid. The platinum is circuitless, so that can go in anything. There's a lot of things here that I might need, but I don't know what they're used for yet. Oh, there's something for tetrafluoroethylene, which, yeah, would speed up polytetrafluoroethylene, but it's already not much of a problem. And then there's something for epoxy, which, yeah, I'm going to set that up too. So maybe I make 3 chemical plants? One for sulfuric acid and other things on 24, one for platinum, and then one for just other miscellaneous things. Yeah, I could manage that. So I need to start making this peak stuff. Polyether ether ketone, because I need that for the casings. And it's also used for the chemical builder, which could be another worthwhile thing to make. That's got some of these more annoying recipes that tend to break things. And keep that in mind. I'm probably going to get a chemical builder or two. But for right now, chemical plant. So I guess I'll just work down the quests here. Starting with benzo trichloride. And that is toluene and chlorine. I think I've got both of them. Not toluene. That's just heavy fuel in the distillery. Is that the most efficient one? Seems like it. It might be slower, but it runs at the fastest possible rate. Although my distillery on 1 is only HV, and I need EV to run it as quick as possible. But that's pretty easy to make. And I may as well move these other distillery recipes, just so they're a bit faster too. So then I should be able to make the benzo trichloride now. I might just have to wait until the distillery's free for the toluene. There we go. There, benzo trichloride. But it's just a tick box quest. Benzoyl chloride? How's that go? Just add water. So I can absolutely do that one too. Next, the 4-fluorobenzoyl chloride. Think I can guess how that's done. Yep. I can make that one also pretty easily. And then that leads into this difluorobenzophenone. I don't like these chemical names. But for that I need fluorobenzene. I wonder how that's made. Yep. I'm probably gonna need to mass produce benzene at some point, but I have a decent backlog of it. So how do I make the difluorobenzophenone? Fluorobenzene and fluorobenzoyl. I could have guessed. And given that I already have a bucket of each, I can make that one pretty easily. So that's probably the main thing for the peak plastic. I just need disodium salt of hydroquinone. Starting with hydroquinone dust. Which I think I might have accidentally made a ton of these from recipe conflicts. Not a ton of them, but I have 81. I guess I may as well create the recipe for it, but that's an easy quest down. Then that combines with soda ash, which I feel like I also already have. No. How hard is it to make? Sodium hydroxide and carbon dioxide. It's not that bad. Or calcite and salt in the blast furnace? That could be quicker. Assuming I have calcite? No, I don't have calcite. Guess there's a chance I get it from malachite. I can make it from calcium, oxygen, and carbon. I think at that point I'm better off making soda ash in the chemical reactor. Well, I can make the disodium then. There we go. Disodium sultrihydroquinone. And that should be all I need to get peak plastic. Let's see. I mean, I have the stuff. It should just, yeah, make it pretty much instantly. So now I can make the chemical plant. And I honestly think most of the multi-block, now that I've seen what peak entails, this doesn't seem to be that bad. Maybe molybdenum disilicide could be a pain. Let me see. I mean, I already have a recipe for it. How bad would it be if I wanted a ton of it? Not that bad. So yeah, I don't see this multi-block being that bad. But the control block, this could be a pain. Mostly down to this liquid naquadria. Naquadria? All these things have such weird pronunciations now. But this, I either need to use the fusion reactor, which I'd rather not. Or actually, I don't think I even can, because this is ZPM. And currently, my max tier is LUV, so no, I can't use the fusion reactor for it. So I have to do it via the extractor. So I need to get naquadria ingots, which needs naquadria dust, which I can make easily once I've got the chemical plant. Alternatively, I need naquadria sulfate dust. So I need acidic naquadria solution, impure naquadria solution, naquadria dust, and fluoroantimonic acid. Which, yeah, that's already a recipe I'm doing for the titanium trifluoride. So I already have quite a lot of the impure naquadria solution. Guess I may as well make a recipe for it, just to be safe. But then I need to put that through the centrifuge, then mix it with sulfuric acid, and then put it through the centrifuge again, before I can finally get the naquadria ingots, and then get the liquid naquadria. That's quite the long chain, but I need to do it for the chemical plant. So I think that was the main annoying thing to make the chemical plant multi-block. The rest of this, I nearly have recipes for. I can get the naquadah alloy rotors pretty easily. Oh, do I have a large pipe extruder mold? Because if I do, I can get that pretty easily too. Yes. And thankfully, the chemical plant doesn't take research, so I can just chuck it in there. And it should work fine? Should be able to make 3 of them now? Yeah. It's a bit expensive, but sure, let's go for it. I've got no idea how long that's going to take to go through, but I'm going to need quite a lot of time to make the rest of this multi-block. I think starting with the peak casings. And I actually have recipes for both the things involved. So how many of these peak casings am I going to need? It says 50, that's assuming 1 energy hatch. And I'm going to have 2. And I can have a parallel hatch. So yeah, I'll probably add a parallel hatch to that as well. So then that'd be 48 casings each? So 144 total across all 3 machines. Yes. And this is actually surprisingly cheap. Well, I'll get it going. What else am I going to need here? Guess I may as well grab all the hatches. I'm going to need 6 4A energy hatches. 4A because it's being paralleled. Ah, but I'm missing a bit of gallium? I guess I never set up a recipe for it. Well, I can get some if I just throw a ton of sphalerite in here. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm good. I'm going to need some maintenance hatches. I think I'll go with MV import buses. And why not? I can do MV output buses as well. And I may as well go for non-pool input and output hatches. And IV just so they can store enough fluid in them. And then parallel, yeah, I think for now, I'll just go with the LUV stuff. But these have the wrong circuits. I just need to swap that over. And then I'm out of phosphorus doped wafers. I really should find a way to get that automated. And coming over here, why is this not being made? Ah, trinium coils. Okay. I'll just clear out the other stuff. I'll make the phosphorus doped stuff. And then I'll just hijack these trinium coils. And I can replace one of them, but not the whole thing. It's enough that this can just be going for a bit. That's not the worst thing. But I'm going to need to get some more trinium coils soon. So I can now queue up the parallel control hatches. And then I'm just going to swap these coils back around for now so I'm not crippling the blast furnaces. And then what else am I missing here? I should have, or am crafting, all of the hatches. The casings and the control blocks are on the way. Actually, the control blocks are almost done. Then it's just the rest of these main blocks. And I already have tungsten frames, so I can queue up all 48 of them. Then there's extreme engine intake casings. And I have everything I need for that, so I can queue up all 27 I need. Oh, I don't have a recipe for PTFE pipe casings, but they're pretty cheap. So I should be able to get all 24 I need. Next I need heat vents. And I've got none of these recipes, but most of them aren't far off. So I should be able to queue up all 36 that I need. And then the last thing is the molybdenum disilicide coils. And I really hope these aren't too bad. I can get the molybdenum disilicide rings, and I can get the graphene foils, and then just extract it for the HSLA steel. Nothing here seems too out of the question. So then how hard is all 24? Not very expensive. We'll see how long it takes, I guess. And then about 20 minutes later or so, that is everything I need for all 3 chemical plants. Actually, no, it's not. I don't have anything to actually power them. I need to queue myself up. I'll just overproduce dragon steel. I don't mind. I need to get the energy converter. And then a bunch of double wires. I'll just wait for the rest of the dragon steel to go through before I keep going. And I'm not going to worry about the 82 stuff until later. So, where am I going to build these chemical reactors? The chemical plants? Because I could keep building them along here, but I'm thinking I might build them over here. Because they're not explicitly a step forward. They're an upgrade, but they don't let me do anything that I couldn't do before, to my knowledge. So yeah, I'm going to place them to the side. There we go, there's a platform extension. So how am I going to lay out these chemical plants? I could probably do them side to side and just save some blocks, actually. Because this platform is 15 by 15, and these are all 5 by 5. But then I could probably just place them sort of like that, and save a bunch of blocks. Yeah, I guess I kind of miscalculated a little bit, but whatever. Although there still aren't really that many shared blocks. It's pretty much just the frames and the casings. And the heat vents. So a lot of the actually expensive blocks, I still had to make this many. Although actually... Oh no, I'm not missing casings, because I need to replace a lot of them with these hatches. So let's get to that then. Around the back, I'll have all of the energy hatches. Around the front, I can have the maintenance and parallel hatches. But then where do I put the input and output hatches? I guess I can put them up the top. That'd work. And I don't want to share any hatches because that just makes the crafting a bit confusing. So I'll have the input around the front and the output around the back. I'm just gonna hook this up to power now. So then all of these should be able to run. Well, once I do the maintenance hatch. Now they should be able to run. So now I just need to try and connect this to the ME system. There. That should be this connected up to the ME system. And I realize that there are plenty of better ways to doing this, but this way just looks really cool. So with all of this good to go, not quite. I have a bunch of these pipe upgrades that I can throw around. I don't have all of them yet, but this will just speed things along. But now I can start encoding some of these recipes. So sulfuric acid, definitely want that. Platinum, definitely want that. Although I'm gonna have to make every permutation of this recipe. And yeah, I may as well use this to get the polyether ether ketone. So that's a good recipe. Although it is UHV, so it's not gonna work for a while. I'll also get liquid epoxy. That's a good one. I'll get this version of polybenzimidazole. And I think I'll get this Naquita processing thing. Again, I'm going to need this for every permutation of this because pretty much every output here is useful. And because that's going to take fluoroantimonic acid, I'll make that recipe too. So I need to have one of these on 24 for the sulfuric acid, one of them on 25 for the polybenzimidazole, and one of them, I think the rest of these are all circuitless recipes. So then I think I'll just have one dedicated to doing the platinum stuff, and then I can split up the rest. And then to simplify some things, I can just remove the rest of the recipes that are used to make the plat line, so that all of it comes over here. Wait, I still need the recipe for the platinum group sludge. There we go, I see it running something. Oh no, that's something different. Ah, here's the platinum one. There's a bunch of other things I should remove then, like epoxy and polybenzimidazole. And there's a bunch of recipes I can change too, like trinium. So then all of this should be working away for quite a while to make all the stuff I need. And because it's all running with a parallel hatch now, I should be able to make everything a lot quicker. And more efficiently in most cases. So then this feels like a very, very good upgrade. I'm not going to be filling up all of my chemical reactors trying to run the plat line, just this one to actually produce the platinum powder, or the platinum group sludge rather. This centrifuge is useless now, so I guess I'll just split up some of the recipes. So with this, I feel a lot better about my chemical reactor situation, and hopefully things should just craft now. Things aren't going to be so full. But with that, I think I'm done with ZPM. And probably a fair few things in LUV as well, although I'm noticing some quests that I forgot to complete along the way, so I guess I'll go through and fix those on my own. And I've long since been able to make the UV circuit. Actually, long since is a bit of a stretch. Last episode I've been able to make it. Or have I? Because that's 16 computation per tick, and I think this only produces 12? I might have a bit more upgrading to do then. But I'm done with ZPM, so next video onto UV. I don't know how far I'll get, but it looks like the energy hatch is quite far away. I'm gonna need a fusion reactor Mark II, and that's its own ordeal. But that's something to worry about next time. I'm done with this video. I am very, very happy with this progress. A chemical plant is something that I've noticed pretty much since I got parallel hatches, because I wanted to try and find a way to put them on the chemical reactors. So I'm very glad I have them now. And who knows, they might be more or less required for some things in future. We'll see. But they seem to just be like more efficient bulk crafting. I don't know. Either way, very good to have. Which I feel like I've stated 4 separate times now. Which means I'm running out of things to say, so I should just wrap up this video. Yeah, I think that's it then. Everything else I have to say is kind of redundant. So yeah, bye.